And you kind of expected potentially this with two main tanks in.
Nevix on the off-tank, he's going to start with the DV here. He's going to face a lot of the scrutiny early on. No Smite tries to put his bubble down early, but it's blown up awfully fast. And this is where the Maze and Symmetra start to get to work. It's Beast Halo going down early here. Not ideal to lose your Reinhardt so early in the fight. There's no shielding at all remaining for Toronto. Now it's just about getting the damage to stick. Mr. Logix opens up the account, getting rid of no Smite, but he's shut down soon after. And the Paris Eternal start with position on the point. Only 3 players left for Toronto. They'll probably just have to try and stagger this fight.
And for Paris, right, the point of this composition that they're playing is for point control, right? You play the Moira for the high healing, able to just heal everybody up, do some damage in that AoE. On the Mei, Nico can split some players off, but really, you know, the Symmetra only gets value if you can play from the point, especially with the double main tank setup.
Beast Halo here, maybe the recipient of a nano boost from Kariv. Logix does not have Death Blossom yet. Lightning reduced. Flash steal based on healing damage. See Kariv here, one of our role stars. Haven't talked about too much yet. Well, a chance to expand on that a little bit later. It's a nano boost for Logix. He's going to go in, but he's knocked away pretty quickly. Shield up, Ben Best trying to go for the Earth Shatter. There's a Symmetra barrier across the map, and Logix has finally found himself one. The Blizzard throw down. This is going to force Nico into Ice Block. He pops out at just the right time. Great wall. Beast tries to go for the pin, and he was denied by Nico.
And it's actually a great Metro teleport there from Exi that he actually puts it from the backside of the point to the front. You can disengage from that Reaper through the Symmetra teleporter, and he's able to get a D-Mech onto the D.Va, pick up another kill as well. So the Symmetra paying off. And the Symmetra is a very risky pick here because if you do not get control of the point first, it's very difficult to retake with the Sim.
And you need 2 shields to really set her up because she can't hold up in the heat that well. Logix over the edge. Shepty, God, looking good early. Going to try and battle it out a little bit with Kellex over the course of this fight, but everyone over the edge here for Toronto as that fight was over before it began. 80% to 0.
You know, you stay on the Reinhardt here. For Toronto, you have the Shatter, but I mean, you have the double shield set up for Paris. You can get away with things through the Symmetra teleport. You have a Mei wall, a lot to just split the players off from Toronto to make it tough. The Shatter comes in from Beast.
They had to make a play. No other choice. Beast Halo looking for an opening, but finding absolutely nothing. There's a supercharger on the point. Logix trying to make the difference with the Death Blossom, but finds absolutely nothing. Another barrier thrown up here by Exi, and there's nothing Toronto can do. Cut down one by one, and the Paris Eternal looking very solid here. They will take the first round.
So, see if the Symmetra comes into play yet again for the entire point. Looks like they want to play it again, so interesting calls here from Paris early.
Look at Exi's positioning. Always make sure there's a shield between him and the enemy. He comes, he can shoot through many of those, and he's happy to shoot shields. It only charges him up more, and that's what happens if he's caught out in the open for too long. But it's a trade kill. Exi threw down a turret and picked up Logix after he found a Symmetra. Pip as well, trying to stay behind Benbest and keep him nice and topped up. The Eternal will now rotate over to the point, and already 60% might coalescence, so we'll see those come out fairly soon. Kariv and Nano Boost here for Beast, or maybe Logix as it returns to the fight. He almost had to fade there to get away from the wall, but he's able to squeeze just in between it. Another kill for Exi. Agility's down, and already the Element Mystic contingent is showing up in a big way.
And, you know, we talk about it as I mean, this is not fun to be on the receiving end of. Symmetra B, once it's charged up, does a ton of damage, but we talk about how Symmetra is good against like double shields, also very effective against D.Va, right? The defense matrix can eat a lot of the projectiles.
She can't mitigate any of Symmetra's primary fire.
Does absolutely nothing against Symmetra. So Symmetra can get the damage on a D.Va, chunk D.Va down, and also get
turrets placed on either side of the entrance. Agilities, that wasn't his Blizzard. Nico got his out first, and now the Eternal look to try and capitalize. Exi playing safe though, was on the flank for a moment. All of the Eternal rotate, but that's the Shatter. Finally a connection for Beast Halo. Ben Best knocked to the ground, and it's a follow-up charge here for the new addition. Blizzard now from Agilities. Who can he catch in this one? Ben Best has already gone down, and Hip fares no better. Nico trying to hold up here, but finally the Defiant break through. Find their first team fight win.
You gotta invest a sound barrier there, even after getting first blood in that fight to be able to take the point. Agilities also ends up using his Blizzard. Paris will come back. They do have the advantage in terms of percentage here, and you have that sound barrier to use. So self-destruct not as useful here. He's going to go with a teleporter on the backside with a nano boost.
TP down, but look already repositioned. Logix can't reach them. He used his teleport, and that nano boost now goes to waste. At least he'll have a Death Blossom to use in this next fight, but we'll have to wait till that wall's gone. Nevix is struggling. Nevix also can't really shut down the main damage at either, Matt. Not the primary fire. He'll get frozen all the time.
Good
Big
shatter.
fire strike from Beast to follow up the shatter. That's what the Defiant needed.
And that time his shatter actually gets three players and you're able to clean those up. So it's big to be able to control the point. So Exia switch off of Symmetra and go McCree.
Okay.
So they don't want to play in terms of like a mirror in terms of damage dealers. They want to often go with McCree here instead of the Reaper.
You feel like he has the better range against Logics and Agilities, May and Reaper both. In fact, the Beyblade composition that was mainly May and Reaper back in the day was countered by a good McCree play, but it was always a skill matchup, wasn't it?
Loosely countered by
It wasn't a straight counter, exactly. Ben Best knocked around a little bit, keeping the shield up for the time being. That's a blizzard now from Paris. They baited Toronto forward. They tempted them in. And it's going to cost Toronto dearly. Frozen up, and Paris win a fairly cheap team fight. It's honestly just the blizzard that nets the win.
I mean, now you're going to have this coalescence for the end. Probably going to get a supercharger during this fight as well. Double support ults for Toronto, but it may be a little bit split trying to touch the point and send it into OT.
Ben Best playing behind the pillar just in case a shatter is headed his way. The Beast Halo doesn't have it online yet. Sound barrier for Toronto. They had to invest everything in this fight and will force the coalescence out from him, but it's 99 to 51. The Defiant have to come up with something and real quick. They're trying to pressure down Exi. Ben Best taking a fair bit of damage, but look at the off angle. Nevix trying to push the McCree away, and Exi is shut down, but the rest of the Eternal get the job done. Eventually Nevix does fall, desuited and disposed of. Kellex are going to try and stay alive around the middle, but he's getting slapped down by Hip, and the Paris Eternal
From the damage dealer roll, he gets stunned down from the backside.
Yeah, very quickly, Kareev had to deploy the biotic grenade to keep Shawford topped up. That was Exi just throwing the flashbang in there.
Also, look how fast Kareev is getting close towards that nano boost already. Maybe he's going to have it in a second.
Oh, Shawford drops in! That D-God wasn't ready for that. It was actually no spite that Shawford was actually going
yeah,
for.
I was like, not sure he's the target, but all right.
All planned. Now, yeah, the Eternal are going to get shut down here. They do have two main tank players in the game, so they're playing two main tanks. But once they get flanked by someone like Shawford, they're going to struggle, and this will be dragged out a little bit.
Do have FD God on the point here for Paris, just kind of stalling it out for a little bit longer, but it's going to be a very clean take here for the Toronto Defiant. So see the addition of Shawford coming in off the bench helps him greatly as he has 3 final blows in that first fight. 5 eliminations and 5 kill contributions during that, pretty much put the tag on everybody.
You might remember that Nico's designation last season was actually more as a flex tank player.
Yeah.
Didn't see a lot of him playing DPS, but for a long, long time, he was a projectile DPS player back on French rosters on that Rogue team, and May was definitely one of his go-tos along with the Genji, but here's Shawford. Great shadow to shut it down, though. Ben Best, he preempted that push and quietened down the Defiant awfully fast. He does have to track back a little bit here. He's not getting a ton of healing. He's now coming in, but the Defiant, the win taken from their sails, and Ben Best looks to chase them back into the hole.
And the thing that with Paris playing the Reinhardt and the Orisa is obviously no mobility between those 2 characters, so you're going to have to really put a lot of healing resources into them to keep them alive, because with Shawford and the likes going to get behind, trying to make plays, it's going to be difficult to keep them up, but no difficulties keeping them up right now, because Next just getting into the spawn here of Toronto. So Toronto's going to have to back all the way up.
Toronto tried to disengage that fight. They threw up the wall from Agilities when the blizzard came down, but they could not escape. Too many methods for Paris Eternal to reach them as they tried to backtrack. But here we have a shadow, we have sound barrier, and we're close to a death blossom for Toronto. Kareev is just pumping out nano boost. So they back up, and the threat generated by Nico alone prevents Beast from walking up towards this Orisa barrier. Supercharge has been taken down. Kellex eventually getting rid of it, and Beast Halo now just trying to accost No Smite very quickly. Immortality Bill's deployed, but Shawford cuts him down. Death Blossom, and Kellex gets involved for 2.
But that's why you play close to the door, though, if you're Paris, right? They have to invest self-destruct, sound barrier, nano boost, Death Blossom to get the cart moving again. That's why you see so many teams, once that point A pops, they play close to that big gate. You're able to just get the other team to just burn some ultimate.
Any more reason to back out of that fight, but they do anyway. So Agilities places the wall lengthways so they can still shoot at the Eternal while they're stuck in the room instead of blocking them completely. Paris have to use a sound barrier now to get out, but they are ready to fight. A shatter attempt, but Exi, oh, this could be nasty. No, he's shut down. It's Kareev. Welcome back.
That's a welcome to the Overwatch League moment right there, right? Kareem, he's done that too many times in the past. His Beast cleans up 2 here. The shatter from Benbest, not enough to hold point B. Toronto get that second checkpoint.
I mean, we knew what to expect from Kareem. For a time, moonlighting as a Widowmaker player, primarily on the Valiant. That was sublime. It would have been at least 2 or 3 kills there potentially from Xy's Deadeye. Obviously now, Deadeye doesn't lock your screen. A little bit easy
for Toronto from the shatter from Benbest. So definitely would have been some secured kills and potentially a longer hold from Paris.
Blizzard here, Nico wants the Defiant to push up. He doesn't want to get burst down. Oh, that was great timing from Nico. Gets the ice block and then the Blizzard as a response. The Defiant, 1 minute they're going in, the next they're on the way out.
It's a beautiful wall from Nico, and then he also gets that Blizzard down that really saves him. It's a nice shatter there from Beast. That's why Mei is so disruptive. She's just a nuisance to deal with sometimes, right? Going up against a good Mei, a Mei that's placing their walls properly all the time. But the slow, the right-click icicles, right? You're just pumping out tons of damage as well. So that Mei can become pretty difficult to deal with, especially at these close chokes.
I mean, if Nico doesn't ice block himself at just the right time, Paris lose the fight.
Yeah, I mean, he drops as well, right?
An amplification matrix thrown out here by Gray. Oh, Benbest gets a fire strike. That's an insta-kill there if it's going to hit a 200 health point target. That's what Calyx is. Well, the wall's being thrown up here. Nano Boost being used on the short ball. Hard to say whether it's to keep him alive or to get him to do damage. Either way, he's going to try and do both. Pushing forward, the Eternal trying to escape, but they're caught in a Blizzard, and Shorefall will not stop.
I mean, if you don't have the Lucio in position for Paris with the heroes that you have, no mobility to get away, right? So they catch them playing close up. Gray will switch off of Baptiste. He'll go over to Moira here. Provide some big healing towards the end of the map.
Just under 2 minutes now remaining in the round, and the Defiant starting to find their feet a little more here. Oh, Shorefall. No Smite peeks his head out of the door and immediately is taken down, and that is primarily his job. 2 main tanks mean Reaper gets a lot of value here, up close and personal. Death Blossom, he actually doesn't wait till the sound barrier expires, he goes in for it anyway. That might have been ill-advised. Here's the Blizzard, self-destruct over the top, and Shorefall, flash, double tap to the head, he's down. Agility steps up for 2 though. Dueling DPSs across these teams trying to keep their squads in the fight. And that payload has hard to get up close and personal, start getting some charge and some damage.
Yeah, the thing they lose, though, is not really having, like, that front-loaded damage. Like, if you just kind of keep fighting here, if you're Toronto, you would think that Surefour is able to pump out enough damage to kind of mitigate what the Symmetra brings to the table.
There it is, Nevix getting rid of No Smite. Diva's defense matrix doing a lot of work as the Eternal tried to cover that ground. So Immortality Field also used by Paris.
Yeah, the difference between this and what happened on Lijiang Tower, though, is like you don't have that high ground that the McCree can play out of. Yeah, I mean, that high ground may not matter, though, as players get split up here for Toronto. Melted. They lose Beast, and now Xy's really charged up on this sim.
And Nevix just ran away. He knew he couldn't face him down, but Xy, he's got to chase. Oh, Calyx, I feel you, bro. He's trying to dance his way out of there, but no escape for the Defiant.
Oh, man, when Sim gets charged up, you see how fast Agilities was out on Mei. We know how tanky Mei is as a hero. To see him just get taken out that quickly, that'll be the point take for Toronto. They get the cart going.
That's right, coming up next, your first look at the NYXL for this year, going up against the Spitfire. Now Xy, let's see what he does with this wall. Okay, sets it up close. And there's a main wall just thrown in there, so what was he trying to do with this map?
I mean, at that point, it forces Toronto to push past the wall to get any value with the McCree.
Or back up.
Yeah. So it backs them up a little bit. So it buys them some space to get the payload away from the game.
Oh, there it is. Shorefall finally clicks here. Man, such a prolific McCree player like 3 years ago. Xy's able to cut 2 down.
I mean, they still have not really dealt with this Symmetra well.
I mean, you have a sound barrier and you're charged up. You're basically 1v1 anyone. You can 1v3 against many of these heroes, and Xy's done exactly that.
He may switch here, though. As you move into the more open part of the map, I don't think you get as much value out of this, especially at range, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, what hero is that? It's the Widowmaker.
So Xy, okay, so Xy back, on Element Mystic was one of those support players who played the sniper role. We saw that a fair bit in Korea. I mean, Korea was also one of those players. So, kind of like in the same way that Adora was, I believe.
And look, this puts a lot of pressure on the Diva. What does the Diva do? Jessup all the way over here, put pressure on the Widowmaker. That
Going
allows you to
over
take
there.
more of the fight up in the cart.
Shadow there, that's a big one. No smite, Grail knocked to the ground. The Eternal already hoping to do something with Nico's Blizzard, but they just got dominated. Fantastic Shadow from Beast Taylor in his debut.
But still, look at how much cart progress he made in a short amount of time. As
see
that'll
ya!
be a boop here from FD God. Sending agilities over the side. This is still a fight, though, that Toronto should hold on and win. It's just FD God here. He'll fall to his death. So now you'll get a full reset here for Paris Eternal, and you're going to switch off of the Widowmaker as well. So you'll play the McCree. Still get that long-range damage, but you can play more in the medium to long range. You don't have to play so far away.
Do you feel like that's why Exy's making a switch here? I feel like he had a pretty good vantage point there with the Widowmaker to play to try and get his team across. Like you said, like maybe Nevix can chase him down a cover.
I think you go Widowmaker there. You get back into the fight quicker. If you're going to push the card all the way to the distance, he was the only one that was...
Just for that fight, right?
Yeah, he was the only one in spawn who was making a change, where now if you play the McCree, you get the point. You can actually stay on McCree from B to C to complete the map.
Couple walls thrown up, Shawfall into the backside, Immortality Field, pesky thing. Shawfall tries to dispatch it, instead just decides to bypass it instead. Chasing down No Smite. And that payload ain't going anywhere.
I mean, nothing Exy can do
Oh,
there.
okay, bro.
Yeah, there you go.
He's back. The slow clap. Sometimes you see a flash of Tasumi, you know?
But, there's nothing you can do when you get a nano-boosted Reaper teleporting on you. I believe nothing really you can do to counter that. So, Exy does get a flash since this part as fast as possible. You're going to be very close to a Blizzard. You want to kind of catch him off guard, get that Blizzard down.
It's like Paris Eternal are hoping Toronto engages onto them with that Reaper and follow it up. Toronto have just been sitting back quite happily now. Oh, the wall thrown up. Well, doesn't really matter. Exy's going to pop over the top of it. Gets agilities. McCree definitely deals with May handily at medium to long range. And Exy heard Shawfall. He knows he's here. Tried to chase him down. That's
That is filthy stuff. I mean, the double thing, I think it's 3.
Matt, this is just one of 3 players coming from that Element Mystic squad, and he has already made a splash. This McCree is looking good, and this is not even thick McCree. This is 200 HP McCree.
And you have some more big additions who aren't playing for the Paris Eternal today. I think if you're a Paris fan, this is a fantastic start to see. I think you had a lot of questions how everybody was going to mesh together, how they were going to make it work.
Doesn't matter, just click heads, bro. Using Orisa barrier, Nevix just getting absolutely slammed. He's already desuited now. Shawfall tries to rush the backline, but Exy had a flash with his name on it.
But look at this. I mean, they have to try and get the D.Va close, right? The D.Va gets beamed. They're sending Surefour via the teleport to the back. And then Exy just does a phenomenal job. The flashbang just buys themselves some space, backs out, gives his team an advantage on the cart in terms of players. They're able to keep the car moving.
See, Nico here is just really trying to be of utility use to the Eternal. Only 2 final blows for him, less than Gray even has. But he's a pain to deal with. Freezing everybody up, controlling space with the walls. You want a good wall here in this next fight. You can see the Shawfall trying to flank once more. The left screen. Here's your Deadeye. Screen isn't locked. Feels good, man. Doesn't find much with it. There was a defense matrix in play from Nevix to shut that down, but now he, in turn, will be shut down. Sound barrier for Toronto Defiant. They're going to go for it here, but Shawfall cut down. He had a sound barrier. I guess it didn't affect him much. Beast Halo tries to go for the shatter. It's only Gray that was knocked down. The amplification matrix was already in play, and Exy's having a party in the backline. Desperately, Kellex trying to stall out, but he's picked up a long range. This McCree play, so nasty. Shawfall tries to drop him with the Death Blossom. He's found himself one, but that's all he'll get. Kareev attempts to jump on.
Ground in the backside of the staircase. They know exactly where Surefour is at all times on that Reaper. That if they can keep their McCree safe, Paris, they feel like they got a shot.
Let's have a look now at some of Exy's work earlier on. 18 final blows of a possible 44 for Exy. Huge kill participation. Look at his positioning, by the way. Always make sure there is one of his main tanks. I mean, it's nice to have 2 as a McCree that are in between him and the enemy team. His accuracy is actually kind of gross.
Nuts. That's what's great, though. I mean, every year, right, we see new players come in from contenders into the Overwatch League, and they just raise the bar in terms of talent every single time.
And obviously, contenders' career always provides a large influx of talent.
Toronto.
Deadeye, that Hulk almost helping Shawfall out. No Smite yanking him up into the air.
I mean, this fight has gone on forever. We're down below 10 seconds.
Benbest has to take a break. His shield is broken, and the Defiant are happy to stall this fight out. Beast Halo has an Earth Shadow, though, trying to stay healthy, stay back. Agilities gets in. Nico managed to get off the Blizzard. but there's the stop. Beast Halo can't follow up in his own Earth Shatter. Now the Blizzard on the Paris Eternal. Even with the sound barrier in play, it's not going to keep them up. The Toronto Defiant stand up tall here as they defend. The Paris Eternal don't look like they're going to make any more progress here. It is a full stop. The gap by taking as little damage as possible. And that's why the Eternal playing a little bit further forward in this choke with Ben Best front and center. They back off now, maybe seeing some of this composition. Nevix will be the first in. He'll try and stand behind his front line and preserve that Reinhardt shield a little bit with the defense matrix. Kellex, though, you can't account for that. That's freakish from Nico, picking him off with an icicle at that range.
I mean, that's the scary part about May. With the right-click icicles at range, you can be a sniper at time, right? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reason to be scared of May, but at range, just a headshot there to Kellex. He could just be pre-firing a choke point, right? With those icicles.
Still looking for him. Nano boost though, short for. He just wants to target anything, and No Smite is going to get served up to him on a platter. FD got again. Fantastic work from the Lucio from the Eternal. Boop Shortfall to the other side of No Smite's shield, keeping their Orisa alive.
Toronto does have control of the point here, though. They're up 2 players. This looks like Toronto could put it away, getting
the night with that change. All right, so Symmetra here for the Defiant. Cross the gap, get to the point. This is pretty standard stuff. How do the Eternal respond now that they're capturing the point? Tick, that's one.
And like we mentioned earlier when we did Li Jiang Tower, Symmetra, when you get her on the points in these close controlled areas, she can become devastating. But I see with another early pickup on that McCree on the high ground, connects with 2.
He's in such a good spot. Agility just walls himself and Beast Halo in. They don't want to have to brave this barrage of bullets from up above. Exy! That's kind of filthy. So 4.
So like I was talking about, it's very similar to that first point that we had on Li Jiang Tower, where the point's very close. You can get to it, you can control it with the sim, you can make some waves. The main difference is McCree can sit on the high ground here. There's no high ground like it was on Li Jiang Tower, right? Everybody has to brawl and fight on the point. The McCree can just sit on the high ground here. Very difficult to like angle those shields. You'd have to send Nevix up there, then there's no protection from some of the other players on the point. This time, they try and use the Symmetra teleporter to get to the high ground here. This is probably just trying to force positioning, but they do lose Carice. Probably going to have to back out of this, but if you go to the high ground, maybe you can force XC down. You force him down, McCree not fast, so if you can get to the point and start a fight, maybe he has to stay there, can't access that high ground.
I mean, a risky game trying to run into Paris Eternal now when you obviously only have that one main tank. You have the Diva, who's just going to get battered in the front line. Another pick off here. Gray finds Shawfort. Gray known for his Ana play, actually a very good sniper. Gray, we've seen him on the Widowmaker as well. Look at Exit, you can't touch this guy. Playing very long angles, and Toronto can't spare Nevix. They can't send him off to deal with XE one-on-one. They lose too much defense from the Matrix.
And the absolute worst thing here for Toronto is you're losing fights consistently, and they do not have to invest anything on the Paris side to win these fights. You're going to see basically all 6 ultimates online here for the Paris Eternal. You know, you kind of play these right. I mean, you could be able to get a first point hold here. I mean, Horizon's a very...
And Beast charged up against the wall. He's got a mana boost though, and he's very durable. Symmetra barrier put in place. Exy can't find his shots now, and a Blizzard thrown in. Ben Best couldn't get away. Gray's Immortality Field was taken down, and he can barely peek. The numbers favoring Toronto now as they have boots on the ground. But Agilities is taken down by No Smite. That's what Nevix does when he has to try and challenge that high ground, but they get the point. Toronto managed to capture.
There's 2 players here for the Paris Eternal, so Gray and XC, they all fall.
Hello.
You make a play out of this. Faster spawn times, they'll be up already, but looks like they're just going to take their time here, Toronto. Wait this one out. They're going to go left side here with the Sim. You get the teleporter up here. Yep. It's going to be the McCree from the opposite angle. Oh, nice save there from McCree.
Unbelievable. This guy, how does he keep doing it? Nano Boost going to be on the way. He tries to keep Nevix alive on the high ground as again he's put in a position where he needs to challenge those long-range hit-scan heroes. Beast Halo Nano boosted here, and he's going to try and connect a couple of these hammer swings. No Smite of Benbest went low. He's going to force out the Immortality Field. Exy scrabbling to try and get a player advantage whilst Benbest was swinging. And now Benbest is in trouble. He had no backup. Shore4 burns them down.
Yeah, Beast playing Winston here on defense. A very aggressive composition. So with the Sombra, the Doom, and the Winston Diva combination, you're going to be jumping on these squishy targets.
I'm glad the X-Men gave him the weekend off, Matt. There's a D-suit already on Nevix because he can't stop that damage in Paris. They've already come up with a formula here that works. Not sure for maybe. Going to translocate away, but it's no good. And now the Defiant are down to 3 players. Maybe they go for a late contest. They do have the Doom Fist. First time we've seen him today. Agilities can get those insta-kills, those bursts. Not on Benbest though. Reinhardt nowadays is very hard to knock out of position and into walls.
And Beast is trying to get onto the Symmetra in the backline, but just the peel is too good there. From FD gone, you had Nico there as well on Mei, and to be able to take this first point for Paris.
Oh, that
very fast.
Good for Toronto.
And now Toronto, you're in a tough spot. Paris doesn't have to change their composition at all. If you change yours, you're giving up all of this ultimate percentage, and you know that they don't have to change theirs up to make progress on point B. They're going to be able to stay on these heroes, have a big ultimate advantage, set a very good time. So for Toronto, you're pretty much forced to stay on this for at least another fight.
You need Primal Rage in this fight at the very least.
You probably nano the Winston.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they've done. Look at that. Primal Rage now got to be online. Beast Halo gets rid of Exi early on. Symmetra again. Pretty squishy, and if you can get that Tesla cannon in there, it bypasses shields, and that is what Beast was hoping to achieve there. Who's he looking for now? Gray going to get battled around, but he can fade away soon enough, and now he's going to be frozen solid. Ruffled his feathers indeed, but Beast is able to take to the skies once more, and to get rid of No Smite before the Earthshatter came in from Benbest. He's discorded, by the way, and forced back. Kellex applying that orb. Shawful again has to be very careful. He's able to translocate out just in time. And he'll have an EMP for the next fight. Toronto, they had the win condition, Matt, with the nano boost on towards Beast Halo.
Yeah, they end up using a few other ultimates in the fight. Agilities ends up using a Meteor Strike. You think you can invest into that. So now some changes come in. It's just going to be Xe moving over and playing McCree here for Paris. Do some of the same things they did on their defensive side, trying to access that high ground, play the control game. As he try and dive this, they try and give them some space. They're just trying to check for the Sombra there. They know the Sombra has EMP.
Again, just one tick of that endothermic blaster would reveal a Sombra. Shawful though stays out of detection. That's an EMP to forget. Benbest, Kareem taken down, or taking Nico down, should I say. Yeah, that's filthy. That's all you need in that fight. Kareem does use a nano boost there by the looks of things. But get the EMP. It's usually a pretty cheap win.
It's a free win, essentially, if you land a good EMP. That he comes from the backside of the point. He actually comes from the exact angle that Nico's checking constantly. Translocator back to spawn. Do we see a switch potentially, or does he stay on it? It looks like sure for the close quarter area here, you have a better chance of fighting it with the double main.
Harder to hack them, I feel, as well. Less sightlines for Shawful. Benbest does get stunned briefly. That was Agility's hitting him with a rocket punch there, but it doesn't really do much to Ryan these days.
Yeah, you also get the supercharger around the corner for the McCree to get set up.
That's a meaty swing for Benbest. He gets hit with a bionic grenade though. He and No Smite both, they have to be careful. Agility's Meteor Strike is available, but Xe comes here on the McCree. No Smite does. Oh, okay. Almost a headshot finish! Xe! This guy's cracked. Shawful has to get out with the translocator. The Deadeye now. Beast, very lucky. Good bubble placement though, in fairness. Has to be a Primal Rage. Everything being committed to trying to stop this McCree. And it's going to have to be Beast now jumping forward.
Transcendence and Primal Rage they're used for the Toronto Defiant, and all Paris does is back out at full strength now. For the Toronto Defiant, you may be able to get away with it though, because you have another EMP coming online from Surefour.
Pack here on the Benbest. He was hoping to set up something like a shatter as he moved into the point. We'll still have it available, but EMP's online. Shawful is causing so many problems right now for the Eternal, and a nano boost on to get the job done.
And Mitch, we've seen it in the past with a lot of these kind of compositions and fights. When you play with the Sombra on your team, the fights that you win without using EMP are huge, because the other team doesn't want to end up using a lot of these ultimates to try and invest. They want to get the EMP out and come back with another big fight.
So the threat of the EMP prevents teams from using their ultimates.
That time Agilities and Beast did a nice job, just not kind of checking, face checking into the Paris Eternal, where Benbest could have landed a shatter eventually. Surefour gets spotted out, but you're going to be able to translocate back to spawn. You're fine.
That's what Benbest. That's what Nico's been doing, just spraying random. Worked out this time. Ha! That is so cheeky, Grieve. Peeks out. Xe took the bait. The Deadeye goes to waste. That flashbang doesn't connect. Gray! Okay. Both supports taken down with that bionic orb. Now it's getting real for Paris Eternal. They've even got a sound barrier here if the fight gets a little bit messy, but so far they're just going to roll over the top. Self-destruct, buy some space, some time, gets rid of No Smite as well. Sound barrier now has to be used for the Paris Eternal. Benbest, he's hit with a Discord orb and a biotic grenade. Can't do anything about that as a main tank, and Paris are forced off the point after Gray opens things up with a double kill. Looks like they're going to struggle to follow up here at all now. Gross. That is gross!
I mean, these are the heroes that Agilities is at his best. When you see him on the Genji, the Doomfist, the Pharah, when he can make explosive solo plays, that's when you see Agilities at his best. Comes in, picks up a 4K there on Doomfist, and almost misses the jump to the rafters, but it's just game-changing plays like that. I mean, we've seen highlight plays from Agilities in the past on these type of heroes. Not surprising to see him there make a big play on Doom.
23 seconds left. Now or never for the Paris Eternal. The Toronto Defiant are way ahead, and Xy's down already. The McCree, the key to this fight. He's off the table. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer or risk doing it without him entirely.
And they've given XE no space on this McCree to get anything done. It's been picture perfect for the Toronto Defiant.
Nevix getting up in his face, and the healing for the D.Va's been good. The Eternal have to go now. Agilities drops in looking for the back line, but he gets taken down by Greater Coalescence. Yields results for the Paris Eternal. Now Beast Halo knocked down by the Earthshatter. He got his Primal Rage up, but this Blizzard might make things hard for Toronto. Kellex, great Transcendence timing. Normally we see him on main support, but his Zen's looking clean. It may not be enough though. The Eternal have Ben Best front and center, and the Fire Strike connects with Kareev. Xy's back, and he makes his mark. Agilities wants to drop in here, keep overtime going, but he's going to do it straight in towards the Orisa. Halted back, EMP for Shore 4. He's shut down. Nevix and rush his team through. They do have a Lucio to speed them past this.
I think you can either bait the teleporter, you can teleport to the high ground. Looks like they're going to take this towards the backhand side of the point.
See if they take this slow. Okay, wall comes out, they just circumvent it. Toronto aren't too bothered by the main there. Beast Halo down early. Shore 4, he doesn't have a shield to hide behind. That's the point of Symmetra in these kind of fights. He needs protection whilst he roasts people. And look at that, he doesn't get any space, so he loses his tank.
I love the way that Paris played that though. They played it aggressive. They teleport around with the Sim. They know what's happening straight away. And instead of allowing Toronto to get on the point and then jump down and try and contest, they get no smite right up in Beast's face on that Reinhardt. They know that the D.Va's not in that great position, and you burst them down. Burst down the Reinhardt. There's nothing they can really do at that point. There's no opportunity to get the Sim on the point and just kind of take control.
Oh, Nico, he checks it, so he knew there'd be a teleport coming through. The wall splits the Defiant off. His timing was actually very good, and again, the Eternal get aggressive. Yep. Divide and conquer, say the French.
Look, you get a wall, a good wall, you push on forward. It's going to be 2 kills here, though. For Toronto, I don't think it's going to be enough to turn it, as it looks like Agilities should be the last one up here, as he's going to try and have to back away. They keep Agilities alive, and they're keeping Nevix alive too, so this is burning even more time.
Paris Eternal, the likelihood of a draw being forced here, increasing.
Agilities does get out about half HP though, so have to heal him up now, push straight onto the point. Without Nevix still here as well.
Nico has to wall off, try and give himself some protection. Might be time for Blizzard. He has to use Ice Block fairly early. This gives time for No Smite to come forward, but he's taking a lot of damage. It's time for the Blizzard now. Most of the Defiant are able to avoid it. Beast being kept nice and healthy. Nico's forced off the point by the Blizzard himself. That Agilities threw down, and there's a trade of main tanks here. No shields at all left for the Toronto Defiant, but they don't care. They press W and go forward. Shore 4 throws his barrier up. I guess they can stand behind that as a substitute for Reinhardt. But as this fight goes, Shore 4 needs to find more of these targets. 1 tip is all Toronto need. The Eternal need to keep the pressure up now, but that's...
Maker sit at range, right? You can't really access the Widow if everybody's played close up, right? You have to deal with the players directly in front of you, so... Looks like Paris, they'll push up, they'll Ben Best on top of the gas station there, with a little bit of a boost, and you don't expect that Widowmaker to be in play, right? Yeah. As next he's going to get a pick on the Logics early.
Yeah, and this is definitely something that we saw from him plenty during his time back in Korea. Didn't he replays yet? He's not got any multi-kills.
You do lose Ben Best, though. He gets hit with a Biotic Grenade and denied all that healing that his teammates could have provided him, so you may have to back up here, as can't exactly play that close at 1 shield.
No. The Reinhardt's being taxied back in. FD God has gone back to fetch Ben Best, and he's pretty much already corner right now. Halo will move up, and again, the Eternal are going to try and set their feet. They are looking for an opening killed by Xy, but now that the Defiant have access to this left side building, Nevix can get a little bit closer. He actually does take a headshot from Xy straight away. He was hoping to get out of that one unscathed. He actually has to back away and rejoin the fight. Beast Halo, though, doing some serious work.
You don't need the kill, though. The pressure's enough, right? He forces Xy out of position, which just he can't just keep putting down these fully charged up Widowmaker shots on the targets just walking up the street.
It's
right?
not worth getting desuited to try and chase a Widow down. If she's already out of position and is denied the sight lines, then you're probably happy, right?
Yep, and then actually even he doesn't know that Nevix is not coming back for him, right? He turns the corner, he gets the health pack. Who's to say Nevix doesn't come out and re-challenge, right? So actually has to respect the fact that the D.Va's in that position, could come out and play, backs him down.
That's one. Sure, I mean, Nevix couldn't cover that one. Oh, defense matrix, the second it went down, actually finds a headshot. Logix! He falls. Right, it's nasty stuff from Exi finding two, and they invested a lot, the Defiant, in Logix in that fight. The nano boost being part of that, and he comes up with very little.
And now if I'm Paris, I play close up here. I force them to walk down the street and allow my Widowmaker, who's hitting these shots, to give them the space to win us the half.
Maywall comes up, Coalescence used. It's interrupted by Beast Halo, though. He gets Gray to the ground, but he's out of position to protect his team from the crack back, the shatter. It's 3 knockdown on the Toronto Defiant side, but Logix is standing tall. Logie Bear's looking for the picnic baskets, and he's going to go in now with the Death Blossom. Just the one on FD God. But the Defiant have some momentum now, and they have that spawn advantage. If they can keep pressuring, they can make some progress.
Yeah, they can't exactly just free push onto the cart, right? The Widowmaker's still on that high ground. You're going to have another fight here as Logic switches to a Widow of his own. So
okay.
He's going to back up. He'll have walls here. So a good idea where everybody's at here for Toronto.
All right, missed a few now. He's going to try and get a better spot here to try and take on the enemy Widow. But look at that, Nevix. So smart. He was on the cusp. Chased him down immediately. Here's a self-destruct. Nevix just going to get a new mech and go again. Gray has another Coalescence. He's going to try and use it in this fight, but they're missing no smite. One of their main tanks is down! Nevix! He's everywhere at once! Eats the Blizzard. Nico now gets no value from that one, and things go from bad to really bad.
Yeah, I mean, Nevix with a huge play there. Eats the Blizzard, also forces the Widow out of position again.
He's also doing calculus in his head. In the meantime, he's getting coffee for the guys.
I mean, just huge plays there in that fight to push Toronto over the line. And that's what you wanted to see, right? Nevix always talked about, like last year, that he's off season, and all we heard from many of the players reinforced, just talking about Nevix all the time. Maybe just a little bit of Swedish connection, but
I mean, have you heard him talk about Ellie Vote and Lolzish? It's the same.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the passion there. But
see those lads later on. Nevix is the definition of a man about town. Ben Best taken down early in the fight here, and Shawfall going to make use of the absence of any shielding whatsoever now, with no smite going the way of the Weary. And a Blizzard not far away here.
So with the switch off of Widowmaker here, you go to Hanzo. You can't really play McCree here, right? You probably would have liked to if you're XE, because McCree, without that mobility, like, you don't even need to switch comps for Toronto to access him well. So and he gets forced into these hallways and stuff. There's good and really risky. At least Hanzo, you can get away. You can burn players down quick.
That's an oh-no-y. Managed to catch out Ben Best. Beast Halo, actually, both of those guys getting caught by Blizzards. Exi and no smite are down though, so player advantage here for the Defiant. They're moving this payload in, 3 on it now. Gray going to go for another Coalescence. Nevix taken low by Nico. Self-destruct, the timing! Beast Halo lined that up perfectly. So managed to get the kill on Ben Best, but for 2 ultimates, it was only the 1 kill. But as the fight goes through, the Defiant do convert that early player advantage into a second checkpoint.
And XE ends up using his Dragon Strike there to maybe force some players off of the point, which you think maybe now you switch off of this Hanzo.
Like you
go Widow here. Yeah, I mean, if you played Widow on point A defense here with a longer sight line and more high ground, yeah, you think you'd go back to the Widow again. I mean, you liked it before, you love it now, so switch off the Hanzo, get on the Widowmaker yet again. Let's see how Toronto plays around this.
XE now stepping up to defend Castle Grayskull. I guess that makes sure for He-Man. Logix doesn't get away with that one. FD God getting the extra damage. No smite put to sleep here, but no follow-up chance for Toronto because Beast Taylor was so low and Logix was out of the picture, so this is just a wash.
So now you're going to keep pushing up towards the door here for the Paris Eternal. Give the Widowmaker more space. Logix plays the Widow of his own, so forces almost a mirror match. You still have the D.Va in play for the Toronto Defiant, so a little bit more mobility to put pressure on X.
We didn't really get to see much of the Widow head-to-head before, so maybe we get that up. Yeah, we do.
You don't get much to see it now.
Yeah. XC removed early, and maybe that's what the Defiant needed. FD God, you're playing with fire, Sutton. Had he lost all of his health in midair, that ultimate would have gone by the wayside. However, it doesn't. But it doesn't really help the Eternal. Logix is popping off. Another one? Not quite. Okay, yeah. You know, for a very softly spoken Belgian guy, there's some attitude in Logix's play.
Hey bro, you go out on the road, everybody's not in LA
What?
That is, now you're just showing off. I mean, that is nuts to be able to just... XC did not see that one coming. Do it again, why not?
No, please. Oh, I can't handle any more of that. Logix, mate, when he fires, he is an inferno. Beast wants to push forward here a little bit now. Gray with the Coalescence available. It's a sound barrier for the Defiant here. The turn back by Beast. Disrespect on Nico, and he keeps Logix alive. That Infrasight definitely going to be helping the Defiant now. Information on the respawns being given to them by their Widowmaker player. FD God doing well to evade capture, but it is over. The jig is up.
More play and more reps, get more comfortable with the team. I think we'll really see Logix unlock this season.
All right, Toronto want to play close. Nevix checking the right side door. Coming up later, fly from Dallas. Gladiators beat Titans, not one to miss there. And Logix again, he is dominating the Widow battle. You know what I can imagine? Our producers backstage frantically putting together like a player of the match graphic for Logix, like, oh!
Right now,
my producer is in my ear.
I was letting him talk to you.
that.
Yeah. The Logix starting to pop off here towards the end of the series.
Right. But can he carry that momentum? Because this guy rises and falls on the strength of that momentum.
Yeah, look at all the players on the stage. Showing Logix love. Yeah, look at everybody. Why not? Toronto.
I mean, the reason why we put that up.
Yeah,
we're on YouTube now, but there are still some things we can't show on television. Especially not in most of the states.
Logix getting the spawn kill going on. Ooh, pushed a little bit too far. The Coalescence comes out here from Paris, trying to bully their way out of the spawn now.
Galex flashbang from XC. He wasn't even looking for him, but that's fine.
Actually, at this point, it's like, hey, I'm not gonna take this Widow fight. I'm gonna use the McCree, break it open, close range.
Yeah.
Now give myself a little bit better shot when I go over to Widow.
Sure, I mean, you just have nothing to work with. You have no sight lines as Widow. You can't really stay behind your main tank because Ben Best is too busy swinging. No Smite is too busy just trying to reposition. And
it's a 50-50 game coming out of the spawn on Widowmaker there on offense with the Widowmaker on D. You pick your dead pretty much before you even make it out.
Infrasight for Logix, so XC now takes the more passive sideline and plays a more supportive role. And that's right, DPS players, you can be a supportive Widowmaker too in your rank games. Logix handing out free haircuts. Unfortunately, they're all inverse mohawks. You don't get to choose that part. Nico boomed.
Now I think for Paris, you're like, hey, this is our plan, and how it's not working. What do we do? I guess just keep trying to run it up, right?
I mean, XC to make it.
Just keep running it up mid, so to speak. So, Logix looking for an angle here, trying to find XC.
He can fall back as well to a balcony behind him. Coalescence here, that self-destruct might be a bit of a messy one. They catch Nico, so even with a Coalescence, the Eternal loser player can't heal that.
They finally found out Kariba's playing so far off to the side on the left, almost behind the Paris Eternal. They finally pick him off.
Getting filthy Bionade value though.
And also potentially setting up like sleep darts. So
double headshot, close range. Actually, Phil. Logix takes him down though.
Returns the favor.
Yeah. Okay, it's got to be a sound barrier for Paris. I mean, you don't feel good about having to use it here just to get in position to fight for this first checkpoint.
Toronto's playing the long game. They completed the map. Havana, like I mentioned, a very difficult map to complete. You play the clock here, right? You don't necessarily need a point A hold. You just want to keep dwindling the clock as long as possible. If you can leave them with minimal time to get from B to C, even from A to B, very likely that Toronto takes it.
Okay, good wall there. Splits off a couple of plays. Nico needs to get a Blizzard here and lets it go. Ooh, it was lucky they didn't get eaten by Nevix. He is able to get it down though. This will slow the Defiant up. The payload contested. Nevix gets there. Gray down. Oh, a lot of healing missing now for the Paris Eternal. It's all going wrong at the worst time possible. That is a filthy sleep dart. Thank you very much. Kareev sets it up. Beast knocks it down.
Now you come into potentially Final fight territory here for Paris with just Infrasight available. Maybe a Coalescence if you can extend the fight, but no tools to work with. Surefour gonna end up with a Blizzard probably.
Another Infrasight.
Too.
XE, everywhere he goes, he's going to be tracked. At least he has one of his own here.
Kareem gets it! By Kareem.
Okay, yeah, I forget there's multiple snipers on the side of the Toronto Defiant. Kareem again just goes above and beyond what is required of him. Logic's now, is this a tight angle? This is aggressive. No spike. Has to be careful. The shield is not multi-directional. There ain't no bubble. Gray needs a big Coalescence here, but the healing's not enough to keep FD God and Ben Best alive. Logic's again strikes. This man is unstoppable. XE shuts him down, but it's just a consolation. The Toronto Defiant new look.